You want two-way tonight? You have two-way tonight. Welcome. This is two-way tonight. I'm Mark Halperin. Thank you for being here. From the end of the morning meeting until this moment, so that's from 10 a.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern. It's just been a nonstop gallop of news. Stuff's happening around the globe and all manner of things. And then my inbox has been a nonstop gallop of news too, because apparently there was some technical difficulty involving the YouTube, the on-demand video, which happens from time to time. You go to your NBC Newses or your even your Netflix had some prize fight. They had a problem. Headline, breaking news: two-way is not infallible. Also, subheadline: Mark Halperin is not tech support. If your YouTube link is not working and you know who you are out there, I see some of you laughing who did this. Email me. Some of you are like, maybe no one's told Mark. Even if no one's told me, I don't need to know. Again, I play a lot of roles here at the company. I'm not tech support for YouTube. So find some other way. If you're unhappy with the service for your free program, don't email me. And again, I love hearing from you, love your points of view, etc. But I am not tech support when the YouTube link doesn't work. Could I be any more clear? In fact, I'd rather you put smack in the chat on YouTube than say, "Hey, Mark, just making sure you know." The just making sure you know, I have a little appreciation for. Here's what I don't. Hey, Mark, the YouTube link isn't working. What should I do? Again, I'm just not tech support for YouTube. Maybe you went on the two-way site and you looked at team or about us or something, and you found a bio of me, and maybe your eyes played a trick on you, and it says editor-in-chief, graduated from blah blah blah, has worked in blah 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 blah. Feel free to contact Mark for all your tech support needs. If you think you see that, double blink, clear the mist from your eyes. I am not tech support. However, on behalf of the company, I send my apologies to you for your inability to avail yourself of the show on YouTube exactly the way you're used to doing. And it was a bad episode to miss if you did miss it, because we had a community member come on who has been the talk of the nation today on social media, Fox News. I've heard from many people. A great member of the community. So we'll listen to what she said about food assistance, and we'll talk about where we are in the shutdown, president's overseas trip. What else are we going to talk about? We'll talk a little bit about the president's mission to bomb people overseas. Oh, Middle East. The Israelis are doing stuff that some people are worried are going to do away with the peace deal. So lots to discuss. And at the end of the show, our friend David Burrell of Wick will be here. David's done a survey on AI and what Americans think about AI. It is insightful and hilarious. Insightful and hilarious. Not unlike a good episode of a good Beetle Bailey cartoon. Insightful and hilarious. So stay tuned. David will be here towards the end of the program, and we'll see his poll findings. Earlier in the program, I like to go in reverse order because chronology is my enemy. Two guests who've been here before who are fantastic, and you'll hear me regularly say how great our guests are. It's not puffery, and it's not a coincidence. We try to book you really good guests, and we know who's good. Rob Stutzman, a veteran California Republican strategist, worked for, amongst others, Mr. Schwarzenegger, and Hyma Moore, a Democratic strategist, was chief of staff of the DNC. Both brilliant and both insightful, and both in the spirit of two-way. They might as well put on their business cards: peace, love, and understanding, extension of the presumption of grace to all. They're right in sync with our sensibility here, which, besides the fact that they're well-connected and brilliant, is why we have them here. So in a moment, we'll bring them in. We'll run through the news of the day, and then we'll take your questions, comments, concerns, tech support questions. I dare one of you to raise your hand and come on and say, Mark, I've got two questions. And first, I want to start with the YouTube link for the morning meeting. I dare one of you to do that. Even if you're joking, I dare you to do it. But we would like your questions. So if you've never raised your hand before and you want to be in on the conversation, please raise your hand. We'd love to have you. Nothing I like more. The sweetest sound, besides the sound of my son's voice, is when someone says, long time, first time. Just because I'm a sucker for that. I've always loved that expression. I love it particularly here because we love to get new people involved. All right. A couple words from a sponsor of this program, because while the YouTube link doesn't work always, the program is still free. We got to, as Johnny Carson would say, pay the bills. CB Distillery is having a big sale for members of the two-way community. If you go on cbdistillery.com, use the promo code VIP, you get not 20% off, not 30% off, 40% off your order, of their products, solutions that work with your body to help you deal with stress and pain after exercise. For many, even mood and focus are dealt with by taking products from CB Distillery. Over 2 million people have purchased their products that are made with the highest quality, clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD. So go to cbdistillery.com right now if you want to deal with issues of sleep or other concerns that would be helpful if you were able to have less stress and feel better. cbdistillery.com, 40% off your purchase if you use the promo code VIP and tell them tech support sent you. Tell them tech support sent you. All right. Let's see now. What am I doing next here? One more word for one more sponsor. This is a good one. Cozy Earth. So I love getting emails about Cozy Earth, unlike these emails about tech support. So I got an email from one of you today. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah. This person's a little bit famous. I won't lie to you. Some of you have heard of this person. Here's what he emailed me. He said, Mark, I'm reminded of the versatility of the Cozy Earth pants as I sit here he's in a prominent place in Washington. I won't say where, in a session on what do you call it? An issue. He says, I'm wearing the pants with a sports coat and a button down, and no one's the wiser. Again, you can wear it with a sports coat and a button down, and people will just say, yeah, nice slacks. But you could wear them literally to the beach or watching the World Series tonight, where I was told they plan to walk Ohtani every at bat, which makes me nuts. Anyway, Cozy Earth products available to you now, the bedding, the pants, everything. It can't be beat. And you hear me talk about the pants all the time because they're so incredible. Go to cozyearth.com, use the promo code two-way, cozyearth.com, promo code two-way for 20% off. Cozyearth.com, promo code two-way, because home isn't just where you live, it's how you feel. Let's go home with Cozy Earth. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Ladies and gentlemen, our great guest tonight, returning champion, Jeopardy champion, Hyma Moore is here. Hyma, welcome back, sir. Every time Hyma's on, people email me and they say, who is that guy? Why haven't we ever heard of that guy? And Hyma, I asked the same question. Why aren't you more famous?
Mark, you made to put me on payroll.
Is that what it is? If we pay you, you'll become famous. Do you? And maybe you guys were on together, and you're going to say, Mark, of course we know each other because we were on already. Have you ever been on with Rob Stutzman?
No, we haven't been on together yet.
Do you know Rob?
I know his name.
Okay, Rob, like you, is an understated genius, and Rob, like you, has facial hair, and Rob, like you, thinks that the three most annoying people to deal with in any congressional office is the following: the scheduler, the spouse, and the comms director. Those are the villains of the piece, right?
That's the trifecta.
Yeah, that's the trifecta. The fundraiser too, but they're not in the office legally. Welcome to you both. Thank you for coming back. Rob, are you familiar with Hyma's oeuvre, or do you need to hear something about it?
I read about Hyma today. Okay. I'm glad to be on with him. It's good to meet you, Hyma.
Rob is going to be so impressed because Rob thinks most Democrats are a bunch of knuckleheads. So he's going to be like, wow, I didn't realize the Democratic Party had someone that thoughtful.
That's hard to say coming from California, right?
Exactly.
Right.
I'm going to ask you both my favorite question to ask California Republicans and anybody else interested in politics. Who are the two most likely next Republican governors of California? Name the two people who are most likely to be the next Republican governor of California. Rob, you go first.
Rick Caruso, when he switches back for his reelect.
Understood. I hear you. That's a good answer.
And I'll go with Freddie Freeman after last night.
That's an awesome answer. Do we know, has he got a Garvey-esque interest in politics, or you just?
Well, I hope if it's a Garvey-esque, then I don't have high hopes. I hope it's a little more engaging.
Well, at least interest. How do you feel about them walking? They say they're going to walk Ohtani the entire rest of the series. How do you feel
I don't blame them. It's now, but hey, Mookie Betts then get a hit with Ohtani on base.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's all fine.
I'd like to see, if they're going to do it, they better walk him with the bases loaded. Like that's how much they want him. Hyma, are you a baseball fan at all?
Yeah, I've been keeping up.
Yeah, I interviewed Senator from Tennessee. Can't remember any names. What's the name of the senator from Tennessee? He was ambassador to Japan. Somebody help me.
Haggerty.
Thank you. I interviewed Senator Haggerty today, and if you're ambassador to Japan, you got to know about baseball. And last night, of course, the president and the new prime minister watched the series together. Anyway, I was asked Haggerty about Ohtani, and he said when he was ambassador, Otani had to apply for like a visa or whatever to come, or work permit or whatever it is. He bestowed it upon Otani. They did like a public ceremony where he's like, "Here's your paperwork. You can go be on the Dodgers." And then he loves baseball. He went to a lot of games. Otani's coach in Japan, son, they recruited to go play baseball at Vanderbilt. For some reason, they didn't get him. So my point is, Senator Haggerty, is the reason we have Otani. I mean, not exactly, but you see my point.
Well, I'm concerned about how quickly ICE could revoke that visa.
Yeah. Well,
thank God it's a Canadian team, so this
exactly.
administration
Exactly.
won't do that. Yeah,
exactly. But if we're a real American team, all bets would be off. All right, guys, thank you for being here. Here we go. Let's start with the shutdown. And no progress today. I saw a bunch of Democrats and Republican senators on TV, including John Thune, and it seems like we are where we were, which is the Republicans are saying clean CR and then we'll talk, and Democrats are saying we got to talk first before clean CR. Here's what happened on two-way this morning. Nicole, a member of our community from Tennessee, like Senator Haggerty, came on. She's a military wife, and she was very passionate about SNAP, and it caught the attention of our friend Martha McCallum at Fox. So here's the excerpt Fox played this afternoon of Nicole of our community at number 19, please.
You've got air traffic controllers have already missed their first full paychecks. You have Sean Duffy, the Transportation Secretary, saying that he is not concerned about safety in the air, but obviously all of that comes into play. And then this Saturday, you've got SNAP benefits that will dry up for more than 40 million Americans who are recipients of them. That's a huge number of Americans that receive SNAP benefits, 40 million people on them for food. So let's take a look at this moment, this reflection on that from a mom in Tennessee. Watch.
I'm a military spouse, and when the 15 came around and we didn't have to worry about our check, that made a world of difference. And the first is coming, and there are people that need food.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune.
Okay,
just met
here
with Vice President.
You can watch her entire 4 minutes with us explaining her position and how upset she is at Washington on the YouTube channel, and that link works. So feel free to watch it. Here is the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, and SNAP is part of Department of Agriculture, talking about SNAP benefits and the expiration. Number 4, please.
The USDA have the money to keep this program should you choose to, or has the well truly run dry?
100% unequivocally, USDA does not have the $9.2 billion that it would require. There's not just pots of $9.2 billion sitting around. And what's particularly rich about New York saying that, or California, or any of these other blue states that have filed the lawsuit that say, oh no, we're going to go, you guys, USDA, go find the money, is it's their very friends, partners, colleagues, Democrat elected officials that continue to vote over and over again to keep the government closed. Again, shame on them. I cannot begin to understand what they're thinking. Even their own union, right? Even their own federal government employee union, I don't know the exact name, is urging their own Democratic leaders to open the government back up. Listen, Chuck Schumer's getting paid. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is getting paid, but our air traffic controllers not getting paid. Our food stamp recipients are not going to get their benefit beginning Saturday. Our law enforcement, those that are keeping us safe, not getting paid. It's just, it's unbelievable. And I've never seen anything like this. It's surely they're going to change their mind and vote to open any day now.
All right, I have a lot to say and a lot to ask you too about this. First of all, she's referring to the fact that some Democratic states, some blue states have sued, saying the government should find the money for the SNAP benefits. She's saying they won't. I have never seen in my history of covering shutdowns or almost anything else the level of message discipline the Republican Party is demonstrating here. Calling it the Schumer shutdown, putting it on the Democrats, it's really quite something, just as a performative matter. Hyma, first thing, and I know all of us are struck by this, 40 million Americans are on SNAP. Yeah. That's incredible. What is wrong with America that, independent of the shutdown, 40 million Americans are on food assistance?
Well, Mark, it's good to be here again, and happy to be with Rob.
Thank you.
I think it would take us 2 hours to go and look at the historical implications that this is really drawing bear to. And I agree with you. I think the Trump administration, they've obviously been singing from the same hymnal, and they've been very tight in line. But here's the problem. And if you listen to what the secretary just said just now, they're walking a really dangerous tightrope when they're trying to blame the Democrats for the shutdown and for people not getting paid, SNAP benefits, Wick. When you really look at the numbers and look at who is on SNAP, who's on Wick, a lot of those voters are voters who voted for Donald Trump or vote for Republicans, or who are largely in these red states, quote unquote. I hate the word red state and blue state. I just hate that.
I totally agree with you. I agree. I shouldn't say it.
But there's a vast amount of these individuals who are in states that are represented by Republicans. And so when the rubber meets the road in just a week, when you have healthcare costs going up at the end of this year, you have SNAP benefits and WIC benefits, not being taken into account, and then you have the agriculture community. The agriculture community is already getting the short end of the stick. This is going to be a really bad scenario for the president, for the administration. And when you talk about trickle-down economics, and we've talked about this for 50, 60, 100 years now, this is going to be a bad example of bad trickle down. And when you don't give people access to healthy food and the money to, obviously they don't have the money themselves to pay for it. And that's why we've been supplementing it. If we can't supplement that and continue to do it, then the ag community, the grocery stores, the retailers, it's going to have a really, really bad effect on the economy. And the economy is already in a tough spot. And so what I say all that to say that you're at risk of not feeding people who voted for you, and you're at risk of losing businesses who've been very supportive of the president over the last year. So this is going to be a dangerous situation. So yes, the talking points are going to be really tight, and they're all saying the same thing, but it's going to be a very dangerous situation in just a week. And then when you think about healthcare, when you think about why the Democrats are not voting for this quote unquote clean CR, the healthcare implications at the end of this year are real. Healthcare costs will go up. If these Obamacare, ACA subsidies are not taken into account, it will go up. And so you're looking at a very dangerous economic situation on top of a political situation. And I think that's why, regardless of these talking points, the Trump administration's got to wake up, and they've got to take care of their people, if anything.
Rob, let me show you Senator Haggerty in my discussion with him when we weren't talking about baseball, talking about what his framing of the government shutdown, who's responsible. This is number 7, please.
Schumer is deeply concerned about his own political future. And what he's doing is putting his own political future, if this is the case, he's putting his own political future in the way of the well-being of many, many Americans. And you talk about the SNAP benefits, but I'd also reiterate this. You've got people that are missing their second paycheck now. We've got people that work at ICE, law enforcement, that are risking their lives every day that aren't being compensated. You think about air traffic control. If they start not coming to work, they're going to miss a paycheck as well. They start not coming to work, it slows down the whole air traffic system. What if that were to shut down? That would bring this country to its knees. And Chuck Schumer is literally playing Russian roulette. All he needs to do is come back to the table. We've offered, I think, everything that one could want. We actually put in place legislation last week that they voted down to at least fund the essential workers in the U.S. government. No. We tried to get them to come back to the table to work on our appropriations bills. The Democrats would have a say in all the appropriations if they would only come to the table and work with us. They will not do it. This is all about resistance. It's about standing up to Trump. It's about no kings in their rally that they had last weekend, which was ridiculous. And in the meantime, the American public is suffering. And as you mentioned, Mark, we're going to have a lot more suffering to come if they don't step up and come to the table.
So, Rob, who is Hyma right that the suffering will lead to blame for the Republicans, or is it less clear to you?
Well, I think it's less clear. I do think the fight to define the shutdown it's very much still a jump ball. You can choose your own. You can kind of choose your own narrative here, depending on who you are and where you align. I do think, I agree with everything Hyma said. I'm framing the issues, and he mentioned healthcare costs and those subsidies. And I do think Democrats want to get far enough into this that the bite on healthcare is felt. And I think they feel like there's an advantage there. I think they feel like it solidifies their program, which is the Obamacare and those subsidies. And, as Hyma was indicating, there's a lot of Trump voters that, of course, enjoy those subsidies, whether they know it or not. So the other issue here, I think, is when we get to air traffic control and the broader impact of that. So these are not entitlements or support programs, right? But that is something that will disrupt the lives of middle class Americans and upper middle class Americans and will feel very, very uncomfortable. That's the thing that I'm watching most keenly here in the next days to come.
Yeah. All right. Thank you both. Breaking news. If you want to watch this morning's episode, it is available to you. Just go to our page on YouTube. It's not under the live tab where you usually find it. It's under the video tab. So again, here's my tech support for you. You can still watch today morning's episode, just in a different place. And of course, as been pointing out here, I glanced at the chat. Don't do that. It's also available as a podcast. So if you don't need to see what I'm wearing or Sean's facial expressions, you can go listen to it on days when it's not there. All right. Let's Polymarket the question of the shutdown. And when wagers on Polymarket, which of course is a site you can go to and bet on all sorts of things. And here's what Polymarket wagers say. Number 8. And the question is this: when will the next government funding bill be a clean CR? Will it be a clean CR? Which is, of course, what Republicans and the main government employees union says. Only 32% odds that it will be a clean CR. That surprises me. Only 32% chance a clean CR. Hyma, what do you think of that number?
Look, I'm not surprised by that at all. And look, I've said this.
Tell me why. I would think people would think it'd be higher, but
no, I think what's the bigger issue right now, people are losing confidence in Washington. And again, and if you remember what it was like in 2011 and 2012 going into those midterms when Barack Obama was president, and that's when people were saying Congress was just not doing anything and it was all those roadblocks. I think that lack of confidence in Washington, D.C. is coming back again. And I think that's starting to show in some of these polls. And I think people were a little bit smarter than they've been in the past on politics too. And thirdly, I think Democrats, to Rob's point a second ago, I think Democrats I'm not saying Democrats want this shutdown to stick, but I do think a week from today, there are going to be a lot of elections, in New York and Virginia and New Jersey. If the Democrats win the New Jersey and the Virginia race specifically, they'll have somebody to help carry this message. 2 people to carry this message very quickly who were former members of Congress and newly governors. And so I think when you look at the politics of this shutdown, there is some incentive for the Democrats politically to wait at least a week longer to get some carry of this message from those 2 powerhouses if they win.
Yeah. Rob, are you following our Eastern governors races at all? I know you
I am actually
California.
Yeah, with great interest. I am.
So it's totally possible Democrats will win both races, which would be the historical norm.
Right.
But given the flow of the coverage, how much of a psychological boost would that be for the Democrats if they win them both?
Well, I think the Virginia race in particular will be the one to watch because of the federal workforce implications there. So I could see the Democrats being bolstered with a big Spanberger win on this. And then on the other hand, if New Jersey ends up being closer than it should, which looks like could certainly be the case, Republicans will go feast on that. So I could see the split decision coming out of election results next Tuesday night on all this and how it impacts the shutdown. But I agree with Hyma. They want, the Democrats want to get through these elections and see if they get their position bolstered.
Yeah. So Hyma, just stay on those races for a second. Before both, particularly New Jersey, but even Virginia, because of the AG race, before there was turbulence there, both those ladies were talking privately about running for president, winning the governorship and turning around running for president or being on the ticket. If they come back and win, and that people have said, well, forget that. But if they come back and win, you think we'd be thinking about them as 2028 candidates all of a sudden again?
Look, I like Mikey Sherrill a lot, but I will be honest with you. I've heard Abigail Spanberger's name be mentioned much more in these circles. And so I do think and I think to Rob's point, when you become the governor of Virginia, look at Glenn Youngkin and what he's been able to do with his national profile, you automatically start to become a contender, even if you don't want it. And I'm not saying that she said it herself, but I do think that people will, if Abigail Spanberger wins this race and wins handily, she will be considered and she will be asked to at least consider it herself.
I think every governor of Virginia, like in my career, has thought about running for president because they have that weird one-term thing, and it was a swing state. So Mark Warner's thought about running for president. Tim Kaine did, and then was vice presidential candidate. Certainly, what's his name? George Allen. George Allen did. Yeah. George Allen, one of my jobs used to be bringing prominent up and coming politicians to meet with Peter Jennings, who was my boss. So they'd come to New York and we'd sit in Peter's office, and Peter would talk to me. He usually had never met them, and I brought George Allen up because he was thought to be a great prospect, and he was wearing cowboy boots, and he walked into Peter's office and he slumped down his chair and he put his cowboy boots right up on Peter's coffee table, and I was ready to walk him right out the door because I knew that meeting wasn't going to go well. All right, gentlemen, what's your level of interest in talking about the tomfoolery of Donald Trump running for a third term? And either of you interested in that, or just so stupid?
I mean, look, I think there are two things. I think one, if he says it, we talk about it, and then the Democrat, he is trying to really feed into the Trump derangement, quote unquote, syndrome, and he's trying to make it a real thing, and he's trying to make it a real epidemic. And so these sort of things feed into that. I think he's already planning his secession. I mean, he's been, this week talking about JD Vance and Marco Rubio, and it seems like that's going to become a Hunger Games at some point real soon. I don't think the president has, I mean, he's made a lot of money. I don't think he has any desire to do this again. He's going to be way older than Joe Biden ever was when he tries to run again. And I don't think he's really thinking about it.
All right, Rob, before you answer, I want to play two sound bites, but I also want to say one of the things I love is senators, U.S. senators who like to be called something different than senator. Okay. Because they've had some other job that to them is bigger. So some governors, former governors prefer to be called governor. Howell Heflin, before your young men's time.
Oh, I remember Howell.
Big senator from Alabama. And once during a very high profile hearing, he reached into his suit pocket to get his handkerchief to wipe his forehead. And there was a pair of ladies' panties. They were his wife's panties, but it was a little embarrassing. It was during like the Bork hearings, a super high profile. Anyway, there's one U.S. senator now who goes by another name. Do you know what? Can you think of who that is?
Coach.
Here's what Coach Tuberville said today about a third term for Donald Trump. Number 12, please.
Senator, is it constitutional for President Trump to run for a third term? He's teasing that.
If you read the Constitution, it says it's not. But if he says he has some different circumstances that might be able to go around the Constitution, but that's up to him. We got a long way to go.
But you're open to it.
Well, I think that there's going to have to be an evaluation from President Trump's viewpoint to the Constitution. There'll be a lot of legal aspects to it. Will it happen? It's very unlikely, but don't ever close the book on President Trump.
All right, now there's not much on Capitol Hill that Trump's coach, but this may be the one thing that comes Trump's coach, speaker. I said speaker.
We need the Mike Johnson video.
Yeah. That means that's my cue for the Mike Johnson video. But you've ruined my joke by saying Mike Johnson. But sure, play the Mike Johnson video.
The 22nd Amendment. I spoke with the president about an hour ago. It's late in the evening in Japan. He's working around the clock, serving the American people. He doesn't stop. Talk about someone who works around the clock. And as Chairman Pfluger mentioned a moment ago, and as we've reiterated in here so many times, you're looking at the split screen because under President Trump, the Republican Party has delivered. I mean, you're talking about reducing taxes, reducing regulations, cutting fraud, waste, and abuse, ended the border crisis, ending the crime crisis, resolving conflicts, wars around the globe, and working on these amazing trade agreements. It's been a great run. But I think the president knows, and he and I have talked about the constrictions of the Constitution, as much as so many of the American people lament that. The Trump 2028 cap is one of the most popular that's ever been produced, and he has a good time with that, trolling the Democrats whose hair is on fire about the very prospect. But I do believe that we've got 3 extraordinary years ahead of us, and the 2 years of the Trump administration are going to be an incredible thing. And I don't see a way to amend the Constitution because it takes about 10 years to do that, as you all know, to allow all the states to ratify what 2/3 of the House and 3/4 of the states would approve. So I don't see the path for that, but I can tell you that we are not going to take our foot off the gas pedal. We're going to deliver for the American people, and we've got a great run ahead of us. We'll have 4 strong years.
That is pouring water on this idea, colder than a poor boy in the Alaska snow in February. That's that, as far as I'm concerned. And the only reason I even entertain playing this stuff is because it's a bunch of tomfoolery, is because the Speaker of the House apparently had to spend part of his morning talking to the president in Japan about it because the president was stirring it up. Crazy, 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 crazy. Raise your hand if you want to get in the conversation. A few more things for us, and then we'll go to your questions for our two great guests. New York City mayor's race. A new poll today from Manhattan Institute. This is, what number is that? Number 16. New poll from the Manhattan Institute shows the race for the New York City mayor a bigger lead for Mamdani than in some other polls, some of the more recent polls, even though the poll, as you see here from the headline, majority of residents disagree with a lot of his policies. Here's a new headline about our friend Bill de Blasio, a two-way community member. New York Post headline, Mamdani top cheerleader Bill de Blasio now says New York City mayoral frontrunner's math, quote, doesn't hold up, even though he's an endorser. Last night on this program, I told you there may be some new Oppo research dumped on Mamdani's head, and it happened today. Soundbite from him from not that long ago, comparing unfavorably the New York City police with the Israeli army. And that's getting some attention today. And then one more thing on the race before we go to our guests. No, I think that's, I want to Polymarket where things stand. So Mamdani's been going up. He was getting close to 100% in Polymarket. And the latest one shows a bit of a dip for him. He's down to 90. He was well above 90. Cuomo up to 10. What does that mean? Percent chance of winning, 90%. Obviously a big percent chance. I will continue to tell you, no one can model this race. It's an unusual race. So if the public polls show it within 10 points or so, you just can't be sure you know exactly how this is going to end up. Anyone who would bet on any but Mamdani would be throwing their money away. But this race is not over in my belief, and there's still time for something to change the race, as we've seen. There have been developments each and every day for the last few days. So, Rob, 3,000 miles away, how do you see our mayor's race here?
Well, it looks like it is a Mamdani's race. Sure, we're not going to call anything before the votes are in. It's hard for me to imagine Cuomo not suffering from his ceiling, though. So you can dump what you want on Mamdani here at the end, but
yeah,
can Cuomo really lap that up and rise? I'm skeptical of.
Yeah, Hyma.
I mean, I agree. Look, we've talked about this a couple of times over the last couple of months. I think it's nearly wrapped up just by pure, and Rob and I, who've done a lot of campaign, this is sort of the thing you can't avoid is time. The time's almost up. And what's happened is three things have happened. Mamdani has run a really good campaign by, all functional matter. There's still a cry out for populist help, which is why Donald Trump got more votes in New York and New Jersey than he had the two previous elections. And thirdly, and this is what we've talked about, Cuomo has run a horrible piss poor campaign.
Yeah.
And Andrew Cuomo, and as Curtis Swallow said, he's no Mario, but Andrew Cuomo has completely left this campaign to an old school style of campaigning that doesn't work anymore. Fear-mongering that doesn't work anymore. He didn't show up. He didn't get to the right places at the right time. He didn't put together a constituency. And so to Rob's point, I think he created his own ceiling. And I think his ceiling was a lot higher just a couple months ago, but he just did not play his cards correctly, and he didn't run a good campaign. And people in New York feel like he didn't care. And then he allowed Mamdani and other people in the race to define him when he's been around for 40 years. I mean, come on.
Yeah. All right. We'll see about what happens there. Again, a few more topics. We'll get to your questions. I'm just going to run through some headlines, and if you guys chime in, don't wait to be called on, just like Kibitz, just little phrases, just to get your point of view. Here's a headline from the Wall Street Journal previewing Thursday's meeting between President Trump and Premier Xi. Number one, please. This is a Wall Street Journal exclusive, although not a huge surprise. Trump Xi to discuss lowering China tariffs for fentanyl crackdown. If Beijing takes action to cut export of chemicals and make fentanyl, the U.S. would cut into half the 20% fentanyl-related levies on Chinese goods. As far as I'm concerned, that's been announced by the government, so I'm not sure why that's an exclusive, but it certainly helps frame the meeting. The president spoke about this in Japan today, said he was looking forward to it being a great meeting. Middle East, another foreign policy. Number 9, please. This is not the first time Israel's done something that has, in theory, threatened the peace deal. but this is something getting a lot of attention, although the U.S. apparently was warned in advance. Israel launches strikes on Gaza, the Washington Post headline says, claiming Hamas violated truce. Israel accused Hamas of firing on Israeli troops and returning remains that belonged to a hostage whose body the military had already partially recovered. J.D. Vance on Capitol Hill, though, was more optimistic than some. This is number 10, please.
The president achieved a historic peace in the Middle East. The ceasefire is holding. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be little skirmishes here and there. We know that Hamas or somebody else within Gaza attacked an IDF soldier. We expect the Israelis are going to respond. But I think the president's peace is going to hold despite it.
All right. And then more U.S. military use of attacking ships, seacraft in the Pacific, accused drug runners, and all the underlying constitutional and separation of power and international law issues continue to be under discussed. All right. In a moment, your questions. If you want to get in on the conversation, please raise your hand. But another word from one of our great sponsors, relatively new to the program, True Classic. True Classic is clothes, genuine fit, feel, price. It's a new product line that I think you'll like. Go to trueclassic.com/two-way. The folks there started with a simple mission: bring premium, comfortable clothing to the masses, because looking and feeling great should not cost a huge amount. They've sold 25 million shirts already to more than 5 million customers. They've racked up over 200,000 five-star reviews. So that means if they've sold 25 million shirts to 5 million customers, people are buying a lot, right? Or at least more than one. It's not about brand for them. It's about fabric and fit. And again, you will find the quality of the stuff really high and the price very, very affordable. So go right now to trueclassic.com/two-way. You can also buy their stuff at various retail stores, Amazon, Target, Costco, Sam's Club. But if you want to buy direct, go to trueclassic.com/two-way. Try them out for yourself. I have a bunch of them. They're extremely comfortable. They look great. Recommend. Give it a try. All right. Sam, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are, what's on your mind for Hyma and for Rob. Thank you for being part of Two-Way.
Hey, guys. Good evening. My name is Sam Heron. I'm calling in from Greenville, South Carolina. Mark, I'm certainly a long time and a first time. First caught you on MSNBC back in when Nicole Wallace was still on the show back in 15, 16.
Yes, sir. Back when I was as communist as Mamdani.
Well, I'm back when you're in your 20s. So put it that way. I'm a naturalized citizen of the United States of America. I was naturalized when I was 17, 18 years old.
Where were you born, sir?
Sir?
Where were you born?
I was born in Vietnam.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you. And I tell my children all the time, I said, if you're born an American citizen, 80% of the work has already been done for you. You just have to get up and wake up and work hard. And when I heard, and by the way, this is more of a comment than it is a question, but when I heard Nicole speak this morning, I was truly touched. I have my political worldview is from a Christian conservative, certainly more of right, which is what most people would be. I'm more right of that. I mean, but as I was listening to her and I was in the military,
Sam, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to remind people, Nicole's the woman we played for you early in the program, a member of the community from Tennessee, who talked about the SNAP benefits and how unsettling this was to military families and many other families in the country. And again, if you haven't watched her full presentation, I recommend it to you. It's right from the heart. I'm sorry, Sam, go ahead.
No problem. That was powerful. And I was an admin officer in the Navy in the early 90s. And after I heard her speak this morning, I'm a sucker for a woman crying. Just ask my wife. But I tell you, that was a very strong testimonial she gave this morning.
Yeah.
And after that, I literally text my church secretary. I'm like, let me know what families are in our church that I can give a gift card from a grocery store and have the church presented on
awesome.
From them, because from a relative number of people who have control of this country for over 300 million Americans, that is such a small number of people who control a lot of destinies, a lot of real lives, like she mentioned this morning, real bills, mortgages, car payments, healthcare, things of that nature. And I think that we should not let the folks in Washington, D.C. hold ourselves hostage. And there's so much that we can do for one another. American communities, in our cities, in our states, obviously. But there's a lot that can be done that we can help out our fellow men, women, brothers, and sisters. And I just want to encourage anybody that, I know Nicole said this morning, take some food to a food bank or volunteer, give an hour or two a week or whatever the case may be, or just simply send a text message to somebody who you can give something through an organization and really help somebody else. So I had really more of a comment than a question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hyma and Rob, for joining tonight. Mark, I look at my calendar every day for work. I'm on Zoom calls 7 or 8 hours a day for work. And I always want to make sure that if I can, and I know you see me dip in and out sometimes, but I want to make sure that I make, the morning meeting and then, of course, the afternoon show a part of my routine. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Sam, I'm grateful to you. How old are your kids?
They range from 36 down to 22, and we have 4 granddaughters.
Amazing.
Wow.
How old are they?
The granddaughters, I get them mixed up.
Yeah.
6, 4, 3, 4, and 2, I think.
Yeah.
I always have to look at my on my notes in Google Keep.
It's not easy. I'm not going to ask you their birthdays because I know where that would head.
Oh my God, no.
Sam, thank you, man. Thank you. Grateful to you.
Thank you.
Grateful to you all that. We probably should have sent Hyma and Rob Nicole's 4 minutes because you guys may not have seen it. But I'm just curious what you think about this notion, Hyma, first, of the private sector, of citizens just filling the gap here. Is that the right thing to do? Is that feasible? In other words, if there's a real mobilization, can the private sector, can families and communities support these folks at least for a bit?
Yeah, I think that's great. And that goes back to my point earlier and saying thank you for sharing that. I thought those were really great comments. And you said something that was really salient just now about basically people losing trust in Washington, D.C. And that's sort of the common theme. And so what's happening all around the country, people like Sam are stepping up and saying, oh, no, I didn't realize this is going to hurt the community so badly. Let me figure out a way to help. So yes, that should happen. And then secondly, I think most people want smaller government. If the private sector can step up and provide jobs and opportunity, but also in moments of distress like this, if they could step up and be supportive and helps people like Sam do a little bit more, that's going to be good for the economy. That's going to be good for citizenship. It's going to be good for society.
Amen, Rob.
Yeah, there's a moment here that Americans can come together because Washington has abandoned them. It's not sustainable. And, the SNAP program and all that money, that pays farmers also, right?
Yeah.
So, the economic impacts, which Hyma indicated, I think will be severe. And at some point, yes, it's the realization that in zero-sum politics, which leads to these types of lack of governing in a compromised fashion that our founders envisioned, and when they gave us this system, means that real people actually end up getting hurt and affected by those decisions that come with zero-sum politics.
Yep. All right. Amen to that. All right. Give me a moment here for one more sponsor, and then David Burrell is going to be here, and you're going to want to see this poll on AI. It's incredibly fascinating. So stand by for that. Last sponsor of the night, again, another new one. Our friends at Cornbread Hemp, cornbreadhemp.com/two-way, 30% off your first order if you go to cornbreadhemp.com/two-way. If life's been a little tough for you, having trouble sleeping, recommend the products there. CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp, formulated to work with your body, not against it. And no matter what kind of sleep issues you're having, if you've tried everything for better sleep, try this. It's time to give it CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp a try. They're made to make you feel better, whether it's the stress you're having or maybe physical discomfort, to help you relax. Formulated to help relieve all of that. They're third-party lab tested, USDA organic, to ensure safety and purity. So right now, again, save 30% off your first order. Go to cornbreadhemp.com/two-way, cornbreadhemp.com/two-way. If you'll like the packaging, I'll tell you that. They're beautiful cans. They look like works of art. So again, try it out. All right, let's bring in our friend David Burrell. David, for those of you who don't know, David hasn't been here in a while because he's busy building a business. And when I beg him to come on, he says, Mark, I'm busy building a business. Unmute again, David. My fault. David is a pollster, lives in the Atlanta area, and works for all manner of different groups, a nonpartisan pollster, and really so rigorous, he might as well be called professor. David, welcome back. Thank you for joining. Rob and Hyma are going to ask you questions when you're done because they've put many a pollster through their paces. and since they're not paying you, they don't have to feel annoyed. Do you tell us what this was, who the client was, what you were up to, and I'll frame it a little bit better. But why don't you get started, and then I'll jump in after I'm able to find my notes.
I'm from Atlanta, but I'm out in California right now because there's a conference. It's called TechCrunch Disrupt, and so a lot of AI conversations going on with all the startups and the venture capital groups, and we thought it was a fun time to do a public opinion poll on AI and kind of see where voters stand on it, what their concerns are, and maybe have a little fun with it too, with some interesting questions.
Okay. So as David brings this up, just because he'd be too modest to say, David is one of the most thoughtful people in all of research, including politics polling, that I know, and thinking about AI, both for his own company, where he's doing some incredible cutting edge stuff, but also how AI innovation, how it's being integrated into society, is disrupting things and creating opportunity. And as he said, he's at the TechCrunch Disrupt conference. So, David, with that, we'd love to thank you for making time, and see if you can get a price number on that chandelier behind you, because I'd like.
No, it's a new renovation.
Like that for my hallway. Anyway, screen is yours. Go ahead and share the slides and walk us through them, and then Rob and Hyma will have questions.
Sounds good. And I'm going to go through it just straight through because we only have a few minutes here. I want to make sure we get the questions and conversations. Okay, let's see if this can get this up. Okay, Mark, team, y'all seeing my screen?
Yes, sir. See it perfect.
Yep. Okay, great. So we asked 1,000 likely voters nationwide questions about AI, and I'm going to run through it really quickly so we can get to questions. But first thing we found out was voters use AI a lot. So voters' use of general purpose chatbots like ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude, over 68% of them use these chatbots.
Wow.
Yep, and that's consistent with some other research we've seen too. And they use it very frequently. Look at this. Daily or a few times a week, 7 in 10 of the people who said they used it, right? So of that, subset, say they use it either daily or a few times a week. And this is where it's going to get really interesting. But voters generally think AI will make life better. Now, when we look at the concerns, and so it's this plus 7% when we combine the little better and a lot better and kind of combine together. Ultimately, people are optimistic about what AI is going to do for life in America. But all that being said, and you see this statistic here, and then we get into the next section, and it's going to look a little bit strange because there's a lot of concerns and there's a lot of loud numbers about voters' concerns on AI. They're very concerned about its impact on jobs. So we asked the voters in the survey to pick which one of these options that they thought was more true. They said they believe much more that AI will eliminate more jobs than it creates, than that it will create more jobs. And it's plus 34%. So some pretty loud numbers there. Secondly, voters are very concerned about their personal data. So 87% of voters are at least somewhat concerned about their personal data with AI. And voters are concerned about deepfakes and misleading information. So 88% of voters. So this is across all parties, demographics, and ideology. So voters also want a little bit of action. Again, I'm going to try to move pretty fast here, and then we can get to conversation because we have a little bit of time. So first and foremost, voters do want more federal government action. As you can see here, 65% saying that they're doing too little to regulate AI. And if you pull issues as much as I have, that is stunning to see numbers and gaps this big. Yeah. That means that Republicans, Independents, and Democrats alike are all sharing the same sentiment on this issue. I guess they haven't been given their talking points yet. And this is a really big situation right now that I'm sure you all have seen, but one of the, we do a lot of public opinion research, and one of the most common things we're surveying now is into communities about the rising energy costs associated with these AI data centers. And this is a big issue. You could almost do a whole show on it, but effectively companies, when presented two options, whether AI companies should pay higher rates so that the burden doesn't go on the consumer, or if they don't need to because they're bringing new jobs and investment to local communities. You can see it's a pretty stark how much believe that the AI companies need to be bearing the burden of these of the data center energy increases. And so, and again, this is one of the poll questions. It's almost in every single poll we do right now at the state level. And then, okay, this is probably a pretty obvious one, but voters also support limits on kids using AI, and then want action related to that. So I got a couple fun hypothetical ballots here, and then we'll kind of stop it. It's just for fun. But if we were in a man versus machine type of AI war, as we've seen in many movies, who would America want as commander in chief in these hypothetical ballots? And if we have more time, I'd ask y'all to guess. But the first ballot we did was recent presidents, and Donald Trump and Obama tied. Second was presidential hopefuls, Vance, Newsom, Harris, and DeSantis. And Vance won out on that ballot. We should probably do a round two where we take the winners and put them against each other head to head next time we do this, Mark. For a variety of reasons, because what you're really seeing here is that the two Democrats on the screen actually have 55% of the vote there. We got tech billionaires. Elon Musk.
Vote for the big guy. Yeah.
And then running on experience. And Neo Canaries just barely edges out Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Always a fan favorite.
Too, obviously. Yes. We'll have, I can't wait to send out the crosstabs on this. It's very interesting who said what. Generation.
That's awesome. That's a good selection. Rob, comments or questions for David?
Okay, question for David.
I'm sorry. David has.
Last slide.
Okay,
again, we're just having a little bit of fun here, but we said which one of these potential Chat GPT history titles is most funny because it's true. So Joe Biden, can you sign something for me? What's the actual significance of pastime? Again, I wish we could have gotten predictions, but I just want to move fast here. But it was RFK Jr. And this is, you select your top three. How do I politely tell my boss I can't meet at McDonald's for lunch? But we're just having a little fun with the polling. Yeah. I hope y'all enjoyed that, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
All right. That's awesome, David. Thank you. Rob.
Good stuff, David. Hey, question. So you played around with it a little bit in the fun section on, apocalyptic AI versus our commander. But, a year ago, that was really dominating the conversation. It's like, well, crap, are we inventing something here that's going to come back and kill us? I didn't see that you asked that question, but you probably have asked it recently. Where's opinion at along those lines about AI?
Yeah, the public opinion, public is not as concerned about it as they were a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago. And I think they're kind of following the industry's lead, because when you have the kind of industry leaders and the market leaders in this space talking about the threat, I mean, that was all the rage. Everyone was leaving OpenAI because they weren't being responsible enough and all that. And then that just all died and disappeared. In my opinion, we work with AI. We have a whole team working with AI every day, building solutions. My opinion is, it's going to take a couple years possibly before America's going to solidify their opinions, and worries about that threat, or at least it's going to rise up to the point where we're listening to it and reading about it all the time.
Yeah. Do you suspect, and what I tracked this is really great. Thank you for doing that. I tracked some of this. I have some clients who are working in this space, so I feel like I spend a lot of time thinking about this as well. I suppose that this may become a big issue for voters in 2028. You said a couple of years, do you think there'll be enough layoffs or displacement of white collar workers over the next 2.5 years that this will be a big issue for the 2028 presidential campaign?
So, yes, I do. And I think it's going to kind of come skill set by skill set. We have, I can tell you my pediatrician for my kids. I have 5 kids, and his son graduated from Virginia with a computer science degree. Now, my brother-in-law did the same thing 6 years earlier, and he got a great job. He's doing fantastic. UVA, University of Virginia, with a computer science degree, right? got good grades, and what my pediatrician told me was that he and his friends cannot get a job. All the people he graduated with. That's a huge deal. You have people who are going to school to get skills, and you expect to be compensated in the market, the job market, with those skills, and it's already happening. Coding was just one of the first areas, but it's going to start to hit other skill sets as well. As AI continues to get more integrated to the enterprise, it's going to happen. I mean, yes, I think by the midterms, I think that'll start to become a conversation.
Wow.
David, what's the future of polling on this? Where are you likely to head next? What are some questions on your mind that you haven't asked yet, but you plan to soon?
Well, we definitely need a ballot too. So we kind of put some head-to-heads together on the apocalyptic scenario.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of, honestly, and I said it, I won't get too much into it because I only have 5 minutes here, but the rising energy costs are huge.
Yeah.
These data centers are really, and they do bring a lot of economic activity to these communities. But as you saw in the answers to that poll, people are not willing to share the burden of that in their energy bills, especially with how difficult things and how far, how much costs have gone up everywhere else. That you'll start to see that in almost every poll you see, a state poll you see. Internal, at least. Internal.
Yeah. I want to make sure we get something in that's unrelated to the poll, because, man, it's messed up. Earlier in the program, I read you a headline, allegedly Bill de Blasio saying that the numbers don't add up for Mondami, the candidate he supports, which obviously would be a big blow, right? And it was in the Times of London. I faced this a lot in my career, like Times of London quoting Bill de Blasio. It quotes. You've got to say, well, that's true. Listen to what Bill de Blasio just tweeted about the Times of London story that had quotes of him saying his chosen candidates' economic policies don't add up. I want to be 100% clear. The story in the Times of London is entirely false and fabricated. It was just brought to my attention, and I'm appalled. I never spoke to that reporter and never said those things. Those quotes aren't mine and don't reflect my views. If that's not clear enough for you, Bill's significant other, Nomi, who's a regular guest on the show, she did a shorter Bill de Blasio. Here's what Nomi said about this in reply tweet to Bill's tweet. This is super effed up. And the Times of London has taken the story down off the page. So who knows how that happened? Sometimes you can misquote someone because you didn't hear them, but Bill says he didn't even talk to the reporter. So,
Mark, for people like us, that's considered a big win today.
Yeah,
so,
take it down. It's true.
Kudos to de Blasio.
It's true. It's true. I texted a reporter today who wrote something false about me in a book, and I told him I'd like him to fix it in the future editions and re-record the ebook, the audio book, and fix it on the e version. We'll see if he does it. But yeah, taking the story down, that is a big W for truth, justice, and the American way. David, always appreciate you bringing the poll here. There's what's the thing the other day I called for you. You weren't here. What is that I want to do? Oh, can we do a focus group with the 8 Maine voters to find out what they think of Democrats in Maine to find out what they think about Plattner? Can we put that together? Is that hard? Can you do that? Just find me eight Maine Democrats. You don't need to no other screen. Just, is that open? Hyma will know. Hyma, can you vote in the Democratic primary in Maine if you're an independent, or is it closed? Yeah. You can't. So anyone who said they'll vote in the Democratic primary, I just want to know what they think of the tattoo, the Reddit posts, Governor Mills. So set that up. We'll do it any night. You're free. Grateful to you for coming on. Hyma and Rob, always love having you two guys on, and I hope you get some bipartisan climates, maybe an oil company or big tobacco or Greenpeace, somebody you could work on together, whatever it would be. So thank you guys for making time. In a moment, go over to watch Michael Moynihan Report interview our friend Bridget Fedesi. That'll be a great conversation, taking your questions. My new episode of Next Up is online, and my reported monologue. I talked to a bunch of strategists, Democrats, Republicans, and 2 people who've run for public office about Bill Clinton and Donald Trump set the gold standard for how you survive politically, Houdini, when it looks like you're dead. And last night, Plattner got 700 people at a town hall in Maine. That is a lot of people to come to a town hall in Maine. So how is he surviving? What tricks of the trade, I call them the dark arts and the high arts that Bill Clinton and Donald Trump have been the masters of. How do you survive these things, and what's the difference between those who survive and those who get killed politically by things that would otherwise kill them? And then 9 o'clock tomorrow Eastern time, Sean Dan and I will be here for the morning meeting. Couldn't be more grateful to David and Hyma and Rob, and to all of you for being part of the two-way community. Have a good evening, everybody. See you at 9 a.m.